I'm just sorting out the live stream. Won't be long. So for those of you who often hear me say I'm just sorting out the live stream at the start of a session, it's because I have a second screen. So all I'm doing is pulling up the live stream I've just fired up on one computer to show on another one alongside the one running the simulator, so I can actually see what people are saying as they say it, which is super helpful to not completely blank people. And I will admit, I massively prefer flying live over recording and then uploading. So that's half the reason I do so many live streams, is I would much prefer to do it. Obviously I'm at risk if I make a mistake, whatever, everybody gets to see it happen. But then I always see mistakes as learning moments, and a lot of the time people will say, yep, I always do that as well, or I commonly make the same mistake, so it's a good grounding thing. So I never set out to be super professional or anything like that, and I really kind of roll my eyes when I see the more professional simulator streamers make a mistake and you suddenly see an edit in the middle of them doing something and you say, yeah, you did that, didn't you? Anyway, we're in the Hawk. We are at RAF Lakenheath. I think it's in Suffolk, I'm right in saying. And we're going to take it for a flight. So we're going to work through the checklist. I forgot to put a checklist link in the video. So before we get going, I'll just go and pop open a browser and show you where you can get that. So if you go to johnbeckett.online, that's the link to everything I do, and you can see in there's a link to Ko-fi, and Ko-fi has a list of all of the procedures I've made for the various aircraft. So you can go in there and you can see, for the price of a cup of coffee, you can go and get the handwritten shortcut procedure of the essential things you need to do. Another way to find them is if you go to my blog, and there's a link at the top, procedures and guides, and you can see in there there's lists with links to all of the things I've written procedures and guides for so far. The other thing I've just done very recently is set up a Facebook page. So if we go to Not a Real Pilot, or John Beckett Not a Real Pilot at Facebook, I now have a Facebook group. So in 24 hours I've picked up over 100 followers already. So posting obviously things I'm doing in the simulator in there as I do them. So this all came about because a couple of days ago I went out for a drink with some friends, and one of them who takes an interest in whatever I'm doing on YouTube, because this is a huge mystery to all of my friends, by the way, that they're saying, is this really turned out to be as popular as it looks? And I said, actually yes, and it's kind of funny story to tell, really. But they said, why haven't you got a Facebook page? Because a lot of them have got small businesses. And one friend in particular said, why on earth haven't you set up a Facebook page? So now I have. So I'm sharing out the screenshots that I've taken over the last few years. I'm sharing out links to all the videos, so you can see it comes in and you can see every single post. So it goes to Substack first, to the blog, and then it goes to Facebook. So if you are a member of Facebook, do go and search up Jonathan Beckett, Not a Real Pilot, and follow the page on Facebook. It's another way of seeing what I've been up to. Okay, that's enough of that. Enough self-advertising. I hate doing marketing. I don't really think of it as marketing. It's just you might be interested in what I've been up to. Okay, let's go and jump inside the airplane. So I'm not going to turn head tracking on just yet. So we can press Alt and 1, go over to the tablet, go to the aircraft section in the tablet, and make sure the chocks, the covers, and the steps are removed from the airplane. Then we go over to the left side and we make sure anti-skid is on. Then we go to the oxygen and turn it on. Then in the rear seat, we jump into the rear of the aircraft. There's a pilot in our way at the moment. So what we're going to do is go back over to the front seat, and we're going to hide the pilot in the rear for the moment. So then we'll go back over into the rear seat, and we can turn the anti-skid switch on in the rear as well, and turn the oxygen on in the rear. and then come back into the front of the cockpit and close the canopy. So we can do that either by clicking here and then locking it, or there's several ways of doing all these things, as there usually is in the simulator. Different click spots, you can click on the hoop and things like that. So then we scroll down and we unlock the pedals, and then we press Alt 2 and we put batteries 1 and 2 to on. We go and clear the alarm that comes on when you switch the batteries on. And then we're going to go over to the nav lights and turn them on and put the anti-collision lights to red or down. Okay, so back on the left-hand side, we're going to go and find the LP cock lever and push it down. The electrical section, fuel pump goes to on or forwards. Rotate the UHF mode to both. Then on the primary instrument panel, we're going to go and calibrate the altimeter and set the HSI course and heading. So let's go and see where we are. We're at Lakenheath. I've turned the weather off because it's atrocious weather again in the UK at the moment. So we'll probably be turning off. If we do a bit of a taxi round to have a nosy, we'll take off runway 06, which is 55 degrees. So we're going to go and get that ready here. So we want this to be pointing at 55 degrees on the course, and the heading bug to match it, or thereabouts, just to make our life easier later on. What else do we need to do? So air conditioning at the bottom right, rotate the selector to normal. I can never remember where half these things are. So Alt 3. We put the VHF, UHF radio. Okay, move the mode to normal. So just remembering where things are around here. So there's the VHF, UHF. Interesting. So we've got T, R, and G on that one. Air conditioning panel at the bottom right. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, I'm misreading my own instructions. So that goes to normal. You should hear a hiss. And there it goes. IFF transponder, rotate the mode to standby. So that's up here. That goes to standby. TACAN panel, rotate the mode to transmit receive. And then the ILS panel, rotate the mode knob to ILS if we're going to be using it. We'll have a play with ILS on the way around. So let's go and find out. So if we're taking off 06 and we do a bit of a circuit to have a play, 109.9 will be the frequency. So 109.90. Okay, then we're going to go and start the engine. So Alt 2 takes us over to the left hand side. Engine start to on. So goes here. And then in the rear cockpit we're going to put the engine start to on as well. And then in the front cockpit, press the relight button on the front of the throttle. And we're going to monitor the GTS light, see when it comes up green. And then we're going to put engine start to start. So wait for this to come up green. And there it goes. So then engine start goes to start. You'll see the RPM start to climb. When they get to 15%, we can release the throttle cock by clicking this little lever down. So we're watching this, it goes through 15%. So then advance the throttle out of shut off, and it should carry on round, and you'll hear the engine wind up. You will notice until the engine winds up, you've got restricted movement on the controls. So we just wait for it. I think we've just kicked in because you see all the lights go out there. No, not quite yet. And suddenly we got movement. Okay. So we need to go and reset the hydraulic pressure. So press hydraulic to reset and you'll see the power come, or sorry, the pressure come up. Then on the electrical section, we're going to go and turn the pitot heat on. And then on the other side of the cockpit, go and turn the IFF transponder on to norm now. And we can prepare to taxi. So, taxi lights are over here. Switch them on. We'll switch the ILS on as well. So this alternates between TACAN and ILS for the HSI, or horizontal situation indicator. You'll see the interesting, that hasn't fired up yet. Why has... Okay, I'm now wondering what I've missed. Why do we not have... an attitude indicator? What have we missed? Let's just wind the throttle up gently. We're on the parking brake. So it hasn't got any click spots on it, has it? Have we hit a bug? How strange. Let's put our pilot back on in the back. Why would we have no attitude indicator? Let's come off the parking brake. Okay, what I'm going to do while we're here is go into the community folder, go and have a look. This is how we solve things. We go and read the book. So, open the Hawk manual and we search for attitude indicator. Standby from the battery supply. Okay, we've got power though. Inverter control, AC1 reset, AC2 reset, AC3 reset buttons. So have we got an electrical fault going on here? Okay, have we actually got the power or inverter reset buttons modelled in the aeroplane? Can we do that? Where would they be? Did I turn on anti-skid in the rear seat? Yes, I did. Oh, I need to go and turn off the pilot again, don't I, so I can see. So anti-skid is on. Ah, here we go. AC1 reset, AC2 reset, DC reset. So, we still have no attitude indicator. Gen AC1, AC2 and AC3 captions are illuminated. Before engine starting on internal batteries, after engine starting, check each are not illuminated. Nothing is illuminated, so I wonder if it is just a bug. DC generator failure is indicated by the gen caption illuminating, and it hasn't. So gen is not illuminated. Let's just test and see if the... No. Battery switches on the left, they are forwards, which is on. Let's try DC reset this side. AC reset. AC reset. How odd. Obviously that sets off the alarm when you do that. Why? That'll be why. I missed something on the checklist. So let's go and do that again. So does it take this a while to rotate round? That's interesting. So at what point did I miss that on the checklist? Slave option. It's definitely in here. Yeah, the AHRS panel behind the joystick. I missed it completely. And it's just come on. Great. It just takes a while. So we missed this panel behind the joystick. You have to move this to slave, and then that allows this to the guidance system basically to hook up properly. So there we go. You learn something new every day about how to recognise when you've missed something. Okay, what on earth is going on with that today? There we go. So we're going to taxi out around Lakenheath. So we're going to come out of here, and in order to see the maximum number of things, we'll turn left and then right. We're quite heavy. We've got drop tanks on. So I'm just fascinated to have a look around Lakenheath. So this is the version of Lakenheath available now. I'm going to get the name of the shop wrong. I think I got it through Contrail. I'll have to look it up later for you. If you search online and just search for Lakenheath Flight Simulator, you'll find it. So there's an F-15C parked up. Let me just check the volume levels. So you can hear me over the top? Yeah, that's fine. It's a really nice model of the F-15C, isn't it? So Lakenheath is a shared base between the RAF and the United States Air Force, which is why you see F-15s parked up here, as well as RAF aircraft around the other side of the base. It's a shame there's not more figures stood around them, isn't it? It's funny, isn't it? No matter what we are given in the simulator, we'll always want more. I apologise for my voice today, by the way. I've had the same cough and cold that everybody else has had, which is why I haven't been recording much recently, because the last thing you want is me coughing during the recordings or streaming. The hangars are really nicely made, aren't they? So what have we got around this side, hanging around underneath the covers? Is it F-35s by any chance? Looks like it might be. And we're going to go right through the middle of them. Shiny. Should we have a look from outside? Okay, so we're going, I guess, to the British side of the base. I'm not sure if this is how it works, but it certainly seems to be. There's a huge gate here, look, just passing through. We have an entire lineup of, now these F-15Cs or Es? Let's have a closer look. It's difficult to see until you get really close to them, isn't it? Because they're such a flat, they're Es. Okay. Can you see the more bulbous fuel tanks around the edges, and obviously all the rails to hold bombs. So they are Strike Eagles. Quite a lot of them. And hiding in the hangar over here is another one. So we're going to have quite a fast takeoff roll today because we have the drop tanks on, obviously, which makes us enormously heavier than normal. So coming out towards the runway, it's directly in front of us. So I think we are X-ray 280. I've got SayIntentions running in the background as well. So let me just clear up some of the things that are running. So yeah, we've got SayIntentions running. So we are tuned into Lakenheath ground. So we are Hawk X-ray 280. Let's get that straight before we communicate with them. We're taking off runway 06, aren't we? Lakenheath ground, a Hawk X-ray 280 requesting takeoff runway 6. Should have been 06.
Hawk 280, runway 6, taxi via Alpha. Contact tower on 137.1 when ready for departure.
We'll contact tower on 137.1 when ready for departure. Hawk 280. In between saying that, can you believe that? I forgot my own call sign. So we'll just pull up to the holding point and then we'll switch to tower. Okay, so the shortcut to get to tower is just pull this up and then we can click on the tower frequency here. Lakenheath Tower, Hawk 280 on the holding point for runway 06, requesting departure to the east.
Hawk 280, runway 06, winds calm, cleared for takeoff. After takeoff, fly runway heading until reaching 5500, then proceed on course.
After departure, continue on runway heading until reaching 500, Hawk 280. Did they say that correctly? Oh, okay, it was the way they said it. Correction. Continue runway heading until 5,500 feet, Hawk 280. So we've been cleared for takeoff, we can go. So flaps to takeoff position. Full throttle, off the brakes. So it's about 70 or 80 knots, 100 knots just going through, 110. So it's getting a bit floaty. And rotate. Oh, it's heavy. Gear up. So we continue runway heading. Flaps up. Coming up to 500 feet. So they want 5,500 feet runway heading before we can do what we want, basically. Coming up through 3,500. 4,000. 4,500. turn away now. So shall we have a go at a... Oh, we're a bit heavy to do a touch and go here. We need to burn some fuel off before we do anything. Just wondering if we go downwind, and we could call the tower and request it, I guess.
Bulldog Bravo Uniform Lima, pass your message. Bulldog Bravo Uniform Lima, taxi to parking at your discretion. Have a good day.
So we're just coming around towards the reciprocal, which will be obviously 240 degrees. Although saying that, we put the heading bug marker in, didn't we, for runway direction, look? So, there we go. Oh, I thought we did. Now, I thought I got that wrong there. Interesting. What went on with that then? So we're just going back downwind. Let's go and ask Tower to do some pattern work, shall we? So we can see the airfield down there. So if we drop down to pattern altitude, we have to be careful though, look, there's another base directly in line. So let's pull off to the side. Actually, yeah, this is not a good place to do pattern work because of the proximity of the other base. Let me just show you that. If we zoom out, you can see it. Look, Mildenhall and Lakenheath are right next to each other. So we're going to exit to the north now. Let's continue. 7,500 feet will be fine, actually. So how do we set the transponder frequencies in this aeroplane? Let's just go and quickly switch on the autopilot for a moment. Turn the head tracking off for a moment. So if we did want to change, okay, you've just got the flick switches here. Well, that's interesting though, it doesn't do it. Mode 4. Okay, I need to read the book on that. Interesting. So we won't mess around with doing flight following or anything yet. So we're heading north out of Lakenheath and we're going to go and tune into Coningsby. So there is a Tecan over here, CGY 48X. So to do that, we can go and put this onto 48X. So we want X and 4 and 8. And then
break, runway 24, grid 1.
And then we can switch this to Tecan mode.
022, runway 24, cleared for initial overhead brake.
And that will tell us the direction.
24, grid 01.
There we go.
Lakenheath Tower, grid 1, on initial.
So we can just follow the HSI now to get to Coningsby. So if you look down here, 38 miles to run. So if we bring the heading bug around just so we've got some reference there as well. And we can change frequencies. So we at the moment are tuned into Coningsby Tower still, not Coningsby, sorry, Lakenheath Tower. Lakenheath Tower, Hawk 280, switching to CTAF. So we're just announcing intentions to nearby traffic now. Okay, should we drop down to a bit lower altitude? We can turn the landing lights off as well while we're at it. Trying to dip us below the cloud ceiling. 29 miles to run to Coningsby. It's funny, isn't it? Funny, isn't it? With the external tanks, it looks like we've just got full fuel all the time. So I was having a play with this and reading the instructions earlier in the week. If you turn the sight on, so there's the GPS, there's the sight, but this doesn't give you the weapons system controls yet. So if we go into the back, if I go shift and... yeah, that doesn't give you them either. So I need to have a read about that to get, obviously, the weapon system controls. You can see the collimated targeting system. Oh, it has given us some more controls down here. I'm going to turn it off for the moment. We just want to fly the aeroplane. Okay, let's speed up a bit. Go for a lower level. It's very flat, this part of the country, isn't it? Kind of famously flat, I guess. follow the river. So, 8 miles out from Coningsby. Let's pull up. Coningsby Tower, Hawk X-ray 280, approaching from the south, requesting touch and go.
Hawk 280, runway 25, left circuit approved, report midfield each time.
Coningsby Tower on final, runway 25. Skyhawk 1 Echo Golf, wind 260 at 4, runway 25, clear to land.
Runway 25, left circuit's approved, report midfield each time, a Hawk 280. So, we're going to go pass straight over and then turn left, basically. They didn't tell us if they wanted us to go left or right, did they? Or did they? Hang on. Left circuit's approved, yes. So we continue straight over. So we'll straighten up a little bit to go perpendicular to the runway. So let's go and set the heading bug, whoops, to 280. No, they want runway 25. Okay, sorry. They want us to be doing left circuits runway 25. So we'll continue on around. Had a bit of a brain fade there. So 250. So we're going to fly around the airfield. There's the runway. So we're just going to fly across it, turn left again. And then we'll be, so as we turn left another 90 degrees, we'll be alongside the airfield for our first approach. And then we'll call in. Turn left. Can't quite see the head tracking is being a real so-and-so. It's doing this in the Hawk every time I fly it for some reason. It's drifting downwards the entire time. So there's the runway. Coningsby Tower, Hawk 280, downwind for touch and go, runway 25.
Hawk 280, runway 25, cleared for touch and go.
There we go, we're cleared. So we'll just extend down a little bit further. Speed is good to drop the wheels. Speed is good, altitude is good, glide rate seems to be good, centre line is good, looking good. And gear up, flaps up and wave goodbye to the numerous Eurofighters down there. It went a bit stuttery then, didn't it? Okay, so we are going to carry on out to the Trent VOR 11570. So let's go and put the altitude and heading hold on for the moment so we can mess around in the cockpit. 11570 on the VOR radios. So 11570. This needs to be switched to VOR mode, and then we can switch this over to VOR, and then just rotate the course knob and it will tell us which way to go, hopefully. So that's the direction we actually want to be going, that away. 48 miles to run. .250 knots, good to go. So I have time to go and make a coffee while we are traversing over towards the Trent VOR. Then we'll be going over to the Shawbury VOR and then off towards Erery, or Snowdonia, as English people have previously called it. So, if you'll excuse me for a couple of minutes, I'm going to go make a drink. Favourite coffee, I've just seen Martin's comment now, just put the headset back on quickly. Favourite coffee is whatever's in the cupboard. I'm not choosy. Right, so I'm back. So I have coffee to sip now. So at 2,700 feet, doing just over 200 knots. And we have 30 miles to run. Should we open the engine up a bit? And maybe fly above the clouds. So I'm going to turn the autopilot off. Let's take ourselves up to 7,500 feet, shall we? Hey, can admire the view now. So Martin says, do I have a PO box? No, I don't actually. You want to send some Swedish coffee? How different is Swedish coffee then from coffee anywhere else? Does it not still all come from Colombia? Okay, let's go and turn the... Actually, no, I'll leave the tablet on because it's useful to get to those makeshift autopilot controls. Should we put the back seat guy back in? How are we doing on fuel? Good point actually. When you have external tanks, how do you monitor their contents? If we were to go into the back seat, do they have anything different than we have? No. So we're still using external tanks at the moment. Slightly off track here. About to go over the top of the VOR. So we want to be leaving on a course of 247 degrees. So what we'll do is come down here, look, and change the course to 247. And we'll change the frequency to 11680 for the Shawbury VOR. 11680. Now see 41 miles to run. Going to check how loud this is. Okay, it's pretty loud, isn't it? Okay, 30 miles to run to Shawbury. And then another 35 out across to the lake that leads in towards the Mach Loop. You follow the road basically along the valley and then you spot the cross in the distance. shouldn't take too long. What's the maximum range of the Hawk? I have no idea. That's why I'm keeping half one eye on the fuel gauge. We can open the tablet. See, yeah, the auxiliary tanks, the external tanks, look, we've used half of the contents of the auxiliaries. So we can go a fair few hundred miles by the look of it.
Papa Hotel Golf Romeo Alpha Strawberry Zone Tower radar contact identified. Papa Hotel Golf Romeo Alpha Strawberry Zone Tower I wasn't able to find an IFR flight plan for you. SimBrief responded, error, no flight plan on file for the specified user.
Okay, we're just going to go to CTAF. I'll show you why we're not using live weather. There you go. Or maybe that might be a bit more fun actually. So we've only got 10 knots wind, it's just, yeah, it's interesting out here. So Martin, I think you mean the SR71, not SR70. The reason they take off with the SR7, or they used to take off with the SR71 with no fuel was because of problems with the tyres and the wheels. It had such a high speed on the runway for rotation, and it was heavy, obviously with full tanks. It put a lot of stress on the tyres, so any foreign objects or anything would inevitably lead to tyre failures, so they would take off empty and then immediately refuel. But yeah, the crazy thing about the SR71, if you go reading about it, is how efficient the engines become at speed, because it doesn't work like a normal gas turbine. If you look at a diagram of an SR71 engine, it's almost like a ramjet. So the air passes down the side of the gas turbine, but it will only work once you get up to a certain speed, you know, for that to be efficient. So it's not actually relying entirely on the gas turbine as most aeroplanes would. There's an element of it that's like a ramjet, where the air passing down the side of the gas turbine is being ignited. Which is obviously a similar idea to the SR-72 as the fictional follow-up to the Blackbird, or you know, the one that was in Flight Sim 2020, that was in the Top Gun movie. And again, it's all speculative how those engines might work. Obviously, there's lots of physics around it that, you know, it should work. And there's probably some black projects out there using it. Well, there almost certainly is. Many years ago, there was an earthquake reported off the coast of California. This is like back in the 1990s. And the seismologists came forwards and said it wasn't an earthquake. It didn't, you know, the graphs weren't right. But no, some sort of test aeroplane had done Mach 8 along the coastline. So they obviously have been testing ramjets for years.
Golf Alpha Charlie. Cessna 152, Derby to Derby, 2 miles northeast of Churchbourne, altitude 2,200 feet, routing...
Okay, we've missed the turn.
Derby, Alton, Cheadle, Derby.
So we wanted to be leaving here at 282 degrees. So what we'll do is just a traditional way of doing this. So 282.
2463, ident, Golf Alpha Charlie.
So what we'll do is turn the autopilot off and we'll fly an intercept course to get onto that radial. Get below the cloud. .500 knots, we are moving. Let's go full throttle. We've got loads of fuel. Getting near the maximum speed for the airframe, so I'm not going to push it any further. That was 550 knots. Absolutely shifting. You could hear the airframe complaining. Back to 500 knots, where you can see we're on an intercept with the radial, so we'll wait for the CDI to come back in. So we know that we want 35 miles away from the VOR. We should find the lake, and then we're visual at that point to across Erery or Snowdonia. So here comes the CDI. So then we just turn to match the course, and then when we get to 35 miles away we should find the lake below us. So we're just flying the radial. 450 knots, zooming across the hilltops. So yeah, I'm just reading Martin's comments there about test pilots being a special breed. Absolutely. There's some great stories from the Apollo days, or pre-Apollo days, of things going wrong. When they were flying the Agena capsules up and doing the testing ahead of Apollo, there were several serious failures, one of which was Neil Armstrong was involved in. They had, I think it was a stuck thruster when they were doing the Agena practice docking missions, and they ended up spinning for quite some time at a very high G. They had to eventually abort because he used part of the mission fuel to stop the capsule spinning, because the reaction control system had broken. But yeah, every time they tried to correct it, it started spinning more violently, to the point at which, you know, they were worried about losing consciousness of the crew, who were trying to work the problem while being flung round under several G-force. Yeah, doesn't bear thinking about, really. There's several stories from the SR-71 days as well of, what would they call it these days? A rapid unplanned disassembly. Here we go, look, so we're 35 miles out just about, and there's the lake. So we follow the lake, we turn left, follow it down, and you will see in a little while the entrance to the Mach Loop directly in front of us. So we would just fly down this valley in a straight line, so we can drop down and we'll see the entrance right in front of us, hopefully. Oh, that's the plan. And we'll do a few laps of the Mach Loop. There's several stories from the SR-71 or the YF-12 missions as well, I guess. I'm not sure which ones were which in terms of failures and crashes, but you know, where the pilots passed out on the way down. So you know, they departed the aircraft at crazy altitudes, where the aircraft fell to pieces around them. I think several of the crashes were caused by surges with the engines. Because you have to remember, I guess, all of that technology, the engines, the airframes, everything, it was all experimental. And it was one of the things that dogged the YF-12 and the Blackbird were the engine surges. I believe I'm right in saying that the top speed of the YF-12 and the SR-71 are still classified. There's some other crazy numbers that are still classified as well, like the top altitude for the Canberra, I think it is classified. Okay, we're down to 300 knots. We're just coming in towards Cross, which is obviously the way into the Mach Loop. You can see it directly in front of us. So over to the left of us, you can see the way out. It's just through here. Okay, give the photographer something to take a picture of. This weather isn't as bad as it looked like it might be. Scrubbing off speed as we go. Yeah, the head tracking is making this really difficult. For some reason in the Hawk just recently, the head tracking drifts slowly down the entire time. So if I straighten my head up, I'm looking down in the cockpit, and it makes it tremendously difficult. I'm not sure why it's happening. I think it's to do with JustFlight's orientation of the head within the cockpit of the Hawk. You're looking down all the time, so you end up looking up, and then it causes the head tracking to drift because it tries to be smart. I think that's what's going on. So we can probably counter it actually by, if we go like this, and then go like that. Okay, so I apologise to the Hawk for that one. That might fix it. So what I've done is raised our point of view quite a lot, which means we're not tilting our head the entire time to look up. Yes, that's helped a lot. Just letting the speed bleed off as we do these high G turns. For the pylons. We're right against the speed limit. I'm pulling off the throttle a bit. We're up to 550 knots there. Straight line it out of the valley and head up towards Valley. So about 40 miles up towards the northwest of us. Pass over Carnarvon along the way. Barmouth just coming into view in the estuary. And we've just started to use our main fuel tanks. I imagine people that live underneath the route of the Mach Loop are used to it. I used to live next door, I've mentioned this before on the channel, I used to live very near RAF Bryce Northern when I was growing up. In the same time period that the US Air Force had B-52s there. And we got used to it. You don't hear it. You kind of filter it out in your head. It's the same thing as people with small children. You don't hear them screaming and shouting. You filter it out somehow. And then, you know, you're surprised when other people are complaining about the noise children are making and you haven't really realised. But it's the same with the aeroplanes. Of course, then we get visitors come and they would sit there and a B-52 would go overhead, the windows would rattle, and you'd wonder what they were showing shock about. Say, what do you mean? I didn't hear anything. Okay, so have we got a radio beacon? Yes, we have. There's TACAN 21X at Valley. So 21X, and we need to switch this to TACAN mode and switch the, oops, I'm going to have to turn that off head tracking because the click spot for it is so minuscule it's almost impossible. So 25 miles to run and it's that away. So the thing I discovered earlier is if you do that in the Hawk, it becomes a lot easier to tip your head around without losing orientation. It's because they've tipped the viewpoint downwards at JustFlight for some reason with the Hawk, and that fights against the automatic programming of the head tracking because it's wanting to bring your head up all the time, so it thinks you're tilting your head and it ends up having the reverse effect of it, your head drifts down the entire time. It's very odd. So just by rotating my view up slightly has stopped it doing it. Just hugging the coastline. So coming out towards angle C slowly. Let's show you on the map where we are. This is the island of Anglesey, and Valley is up on the top left corner. I actually visited this little place here, Roscollin, a couple of years ago. We stayed there for a while, and yeah, it was interesting. You would think there would have been more noise from Valley. It was actually remarkably quiet. I was quite worried. I didn't realise how close we were going to be to Valley, and we did hear a little bit of exercises going on, but on the whole, because we were out all day, you really didn't hear it. And they don't really do operations at night, so... So there's the Menai Strait. Which way is the wind? If we leave this on live weather, we've got 11 knots, although that's here, not at the airfield. We've got 10 knots from 70 degrees, okay, so yeah, that's about broadly correct then. So it'd just be a slight crosswind no matter which direction we go then. So we could play with the ILS. 10855. Whoa! What will this do in this aeroplane then? I hit the ground. While not looking where we were going, will it crash the sim? I think it might have broken the sim, you know. So you can't get away with crashing the Hawk. It's having a think about it, look. So where were we then? That looked like we hit water though. Yeah, that's broken the simulator. Okay, that's something for JustFlight to look at then. You can't survive crashing the Hawk. So what I'll have to do is go, unless we can, no, it's not responding to anything. Task Manager. End Flight Sim. So what we're going to do, just for a bit of fun, and to see if it works, it might not work. We're going to go to FlightSim.2 and we're going to search for Valley and we're going to try it in Flight Sim and see if it even loads. So we want RAF Valley, don't we? Someone is at the front door. So if we go RAF Valley, custom built, so there we go. It's a really nice version of RAF Valley, and log in as me. Oh, I have to go and say I'm not a robot before it will let me in. And now it's forgotten what I was looking for, which is really great web design, whoever built this website. RAF Valley. Okay, so already downloaded. Yes, I know I've downloaded it previously a long time ago. So we're going to go and download it, put it into the sim, fire the sim up. $99 megabytes worth of it. So while we're waiting for that, we'll go and look in the download folder. And then you can see all my screenshots of things I've done recently. You can see that literally all I ever do on this computer is Flight Simulator. And then we'll unpack it and throw it into the community folder, and then we'll fire up the simulator again, just to see if Valley does work. Although it says it's only compatible with 2020. Although, yeah, so it's saying not. But I wonder why. Something that might stop us. Does it require lots of other downloads? No, it looks like it's all been included in the one. But let's see what happens, just out of interest. So here it comes. So show more, 7-zip, extract it. So there's the actual scenery folder. We'll pick that up, throw it in community, and then start Flight Simulator back up, and we'll see if it may even break Flight Sim loading. We will find out. I just thought it'd be fascinating to see if it loads it at all. Something that may interest everybody, I downloaded the SDK for Flight Sim recently because I was looking at maybe making a tablet app for the various checklists that I make. And while doing that, if you download the SDK for Flight Simulator, there's a special little program in there that launches the simulator without any of the animations, which cuts the loading time in half. So obviously, if you're developing something, you don't want to be sitting through all of these splash screens and animations, and it removes all of them from the start sequence. So this is going to take a couple of minutes to load, purely because my community folder has become rather big. I've got quite a lot of stuff in here now. I've not bothered using the helper program for Flight Sim, that swaps the logical folders in and out, because it does break some things. Look at it stuttering. So it's not just yours that stutters when it's loading, if you're seeing this. It's everybody's. And the more things you have in community, the more it stutters. See, look at that stutter. It's because it's busy looking in community. When it says activating packages, it's looking through your community folder. So obviously if I had an empty community folder, this sim would have loaded by now. I'm just fascinated to see if the 2020 version of Valley works at all, or how badly broken it might be. Because I know it had a lot of things like animated figures and things like that, so it may be that it just locks the sim up. So free flight, we'll go with the Hawk again, and we go to RAF Valley. And we will put ourselves on the ground with the rest of the Hawk Squadron over here. Set as departure. Start flight. We'll reset all of our controls back to their starting positions. And we wait for the camera to zoom in with all of the custom buildings and custom aeroplanes parked around. I think it might work.
Zulu 746, contact Valley Tower on 122.1.
Maybe we'll drop SayIntentions out of it now, though. This is looking okay. It may be the radio frequencies are messed up or something like that, but who knows? So, ready to fly. And then Shift C puts us inside. Alt 7 lines up the head tracking. So we'll just shortcut getting the airplane up and running for the moment. So we'll say ready for takeoff, confirm.
Ready for takeoff selected.
We'll wait for the airplane to start up, and we'll just go and taxi out and do a circuit here at Valley to see what it looks like. Go and cancel the warning. I don't think the startup does everything, so we're going to go and check a few things along the way. So the lights have gone on. They've gone to white on anti-collision. They've done the batteries, the fuel pumps, the anti-skid. So engine is coming up. So we should see the throttle come out of shut off. I'm not sure if it animates it all or not. Has it done the AHRS that I missed? Yeah, it's gone to slave look. So that will come online as well in a moment. I missed that, if you remember, when I was first in the airplane earlier. So we're just waiting for the lights to go out. Obviously, as soon as the engine comes up, the hydraulic pressure will build. So let's go and set up the ILS for Valley then, which is what we were planning to do earlier. We might have to, yeah, because the sim crashed, we're going to restart Little Nav Map as well. I think this is looking like it might work. So ILS for here is 108.55, 135 degrees. So let's go and get that ready. So 135. And 108.55. So it's on ILS. Yep, the attitude indicator's just working up, look. Put that on ILS. 108. So 0. 855 should give us ILS at Valley. So taxi light is already on. Eurofighter and an F-35 parked over there. So I can't see any figures around. I'm pretty sure it used to have figures, unless that's a different version of Valley that I'm thinking of. Oh no, there are some around, look, and they're laying around, so they are custom figures. So they're still working, and they're animated. There's an F-16 parked over there, a couple of F-16s. There's an F-15 parked over there, so I think this might be the same scenery, you know. But it does seem to work. So you can put the 2020 Valley scenery from FlightSim.2 into 2024. We'll find out if the ILS works in a few moments. So just taxiing out towards the runway. So I'm not going to bother with ATC to do this, we're just going to have a play. Yeah, you can see, look, there's the Tucanos parked up over there. And the rescue helicopter and the F-15s. Brilliant. So flaps to take off, full throttle. And we see how we go. That crosswind's a bit of a so-and-so. It's trying to weathercock the aeroplane quite spectacularly. Yeah, look at us crabbing to hold the runway centre line. Interesting. Okay, gear up, flaps up. This is Holy Island out on the end of the peninsula out here. And this is Anglesey. Okay, so we're going to just go downwind a little way and then turn back in and do an approach. We'll do a few touch and goes just to see how it works. So Mafu is saying, do you have any recommendations for flight HOTAS in the range of 200? I'm not sure what currency you mean there. If you've never done anything with HOTAS controls before, there is a really good value Thrustmaster set called the T-Flight? Which is like a wired together throttle and joystick quadrant. I think it's called T-Flight, but it's very, very good value. So before deciding, to invest a lot of money in anything, it's probably the best value HOTAS kit you can get. It doesn't have as many switches as everything else. I guess next up from that, there's one called the X56, is it? Or I can never remember the numbers of all these things. So we're just looping round. So I'm just going to overfly the runway to begin with. I'm going to see if the ILS is working. Seems to be, doesn't it? Okay, let's double back. Get a bit further away, so we're only 2 miles out. I just want to get a nice controlled approach and come in properly. So we're just going to fly the opposite direction than the ILS for a few moments. So yeah, Dave Cleary is also saying the X56 is very good. The only thing that I've been spoilt by, I've got the Airbus joystick and throttle quadrant. So the Airbus joystick is based on an earlier model by Thrustmaster, and it has absolutely fantastic sensors and no, how do you put this, no swash in the movement. It's very, very precise. The trouble is, once you get used to that and you try any other joystick, it has spoiled you. So I've got an X56 on the shelf here. I never use it because it is nowhere near as smooth and precise as the Airbus stick. So we're just losing all the speed in the turn. It's Holy Island right in front of us. There's the airfield. So you can see we're off to the left of the ILS. We're about on the glide slope though, funnily enough. So get in. So you'll notice the ILS is offset slightly. So we are now above the glide slope. So we're just watching the little marker here as we descend. Obviously we can see the runway, but I just want to see how it lines up. So just coming down towards the glide slope. So we're still off to the right. Let's go, and maybe that's why JustFlight have done this look, because the default position they put you in lets you see both, you know, where you're going and the HSI, which is quite low in the cockpit. That might be why they've done it. So we're still off to the left. So the actual glide, the localizer is over here, look. Just check this. So yeah, 135 degrees, look, it's offset quite markedly. I wonder why that is. Maybe to avoid the houses here. Crosswind is pushing us towards the runway as we descend, a little bit low. Although, look, the PAPIs are not agreeing with the ILS. So according to the PAPI lights, we're on track. According to the ILS, we're not. So maybe that's one of the things that needs to be fixed. Quite a vicious crosswind going on there. So let's go, and we'll have to get to the next exit. We're not going to make that one. Oh, I don't think. Oh, we might actually. Stops quite quickly, doesn't it? Okay. I'm just going to go and have a nosy at the Tucanos and the F-15s that are parked up here. Yeah, this switches the nose wheel steering off once you're doing more than about 20 knots. So you have to keep dabbing the brake. And then skid the nose wheel all over the place to straighten it back up. So if you do want to improve Valley in Flight Sim 2024 on the PC, the version for 2020 that's in, I think it's the Super Spud one that's in Flight Sim.2 does work, even though it's not officially compatible yet. So you may see some strangeness like I saw with the glide slope. Should we park in between the two F-15s just to annoy them? Okay, parking brake on. And I'm not going to do the full shutdown. We could say cold and dark here.
Cold and dark selected.
And that will shortcut it for us. So yeah, this is a free version of Valley from Flight Sim.2. It's very cool, isn't it? And obviously you get the animated crew members look around the F-15s. It's really nicely done. Shall we just, out of interest, so we are on the external view at the moment. If we press Shift and X, that puts us in drone camera view. So I've not got the Xbox controller in, but I just want to go and have a nosy around. So if we go up in the air, I want to go and look at these F-16s and stuff and see what their models are like. Actually, let's go and have a look at the tower as well first. This is a really, really wonderful version of Valley. I had it in 2020. I've never even thought to download it because it's not officially out for 2024. So you get custom figures all over the place, look. I think a donation to Super Spud might be in order. Yeah, they're really nicely done, aren't they? But you can see the airfield has been done really nicely, and all of the buildings and the logistics and supply, and it's really good. And remember, this is free. So there's a Eurofighter down here, look, a couple of Hawks, the training squadron. And an F-35 as well. Very good. And a cold and fed up looking, oops, oh, I've pressed the wrong button. Cold and fed up looking serviceman was there. Should we go and have a look at these guys and see what they're talking about? One of them's practicing his dance steps. No, he's just cold as well. And the other one has got an invisible mobile phone. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. That's enough messing around. I'll see you all again soon. That was good fun. So apart from the unscheduled rapid disassembly into the ground when we were looking at the map, we would not have get to look at Valley otherwise, would we? So that was really good. I'll see you all again soon. Take care. And please subscribe. And go and join the Facebook page. I'll just do that before we go. If I go back and look in the browser, I've started my own Facebook page, if you weren't aware. So if you go to Facebook and go to John Beckett, Not a Real Pilot, then you'll find the page. And this flight is about to get posted on there in a few minutes' time. So you can see tons of stuff to go look at. Loads of pictures I've taken in the past. And yeah, it should be good fun. Right, I'm going to leave it there. See you all again soon. Take care.